Welcome. The Ontario Elementary Social Studies Teachers Association would like to introduce you to the revised 2013 Ontario Social Studies History and Geography curriculum for grades 1 to 8. In this video, an overview of the key features of the revised curriculum will be given and how those features will assist teachers in planning for combined grades. Before taking a look at the revised social studies curriculum, it is important to develop a framework that will allow teachers of combined grades to make meaningful connections between the two grades. Teachers are familiar with the idea of differentiated instruction, where student success is maximized by differentiating the content being taught, differentiating the process of learning to take into consideration individual needs, and/or to differentiate the products produced by students to show evidence of learning. In a combined grades classroom, we do the reverse of differentiated instruction and look for commonalities between content, process, and product to allow for programming that meets the needs of students in both grades. Let's take a look at the content of the revised social studies curriculum to see how links between grades can be made. When thinking about the goals of the social studies, history, and geography curriculum, it is important to keep the big picture in mind. No matter what grade or strand of the curriculum you are covering, the ultimate goal is to help students become critically thoughtful and informed citizens who value an inclusive society. The Citizenship Framework is a new element to the revised curriculum. The combination of the Citizenship Education Framework and the knowledge and skills in the curriculum expectations brings citizenship education to life, not only in social studies, history, and geography, but in many other subjects as well. The units of study in the revised curriculum are what drive the development of the skills, knowledge, and habits of mind required to become productive and involved citizens. New to the revised curriculum is a handy overview of each unit that is an excellent starting point for looking for combined grades connections. The overview lists the overall expectations for each unit and the related concepts of social studies thinking, which are another new feature. The concepts of social studies thinking provide the crucial foundation that will allow students to think about and process content in a deeper and more meaningful way. The 6 concepts are significance, cause and consequence, continuity and change, patterns and trends, interrelationships, and perspective. The big ideas that are listed provide the context for the overall expectations and the concepts of disciplinary thinking that are related to them. The framing questions are overarching questions that will stimulate student thinking and help with the uncoverage of the key concepts and ideas in a unit. In a combined grade, the framing question can be analyzed and reworked to develop questions that will drive the learning for both grades. Finally, spatial skills for developing and using maps, charts, and graphs are listed. The ability to use visual information and data contributes to student understanding and problem solving. When looking at content for combined grades, teachers can put the overview pages side by side to look for connections. Similarities between overall expectations may exist, as might concepts of social studies thinking. In the grade 1 and 2 samples shown here, continuity and change, interrelationships, and significance are common thinking concepts in both grades. The big ideas and framing questions can also be examined to determine potential linkages between the units. Here, an examination of the framing questions for both grades might lead to a new, overarching question that can be used to frame the learning for both grades. The last column, Spatial Skills, relates to the processes required to produce, analyze, and interpret visual information in graphs and charts. Spatial skills partly relate to the content of social studies, but the learning of content is also closely linked to the processes of inquiry and disciplinary thinking that is emphasized in the revised social studies, history, and geography curriculum. Spatial skills are fleshed out in a continuum of map, globe, and graphing skills in Appendix C of the curriculum. The continuum introduces age-appropriate skills that will allow you to differentiate the program for the older grades while still teaching and reinforcing common skills to both grades. The revised curriculum also focuses on the process of inquiry as a thinking and learning tool to help students develop deep conceptual understanding, along with thinking and problem-solving skills. The process of inquiry, which includes formulating questions, gathering and organizing information, interpreting and analyzing information, evaluating and drawing conclusions, and communicating findings, is very similar to the process of inquiry found in science and technology and other subjects. Inquiry is inherent in all strands of the curriculum. It is important to be aware that inquiries will not always result in one right answer. Rather, to assess the effectiveness of their investigations, students must develop the ability to reflect on their work throughout the inquiry process. Such reflection requires the ability to develop criteria that can be used to evaluate the relevance of their questions, the accuracy and strength of their evidence, the depth and logic of their analysis, and the strength of the support for their interpretation and conclusion. Inquiry also makes it essential to integrate other subject areas such as literacy, numeracy, and the arts as students use language and math to investigate and analyze information and then convey their understanding in various formats. Using common formats or products to gather evidence of student learning in a combined grades classroom is an excellent way to find commonalities between grades. The inquiry process in social studies requires students to communicate both the process of inquiry that they undertook, as well as provide evidence of their learning. The ways in which evidence will be gathered, things students can write, say, or do, is a crucial decision that must be made early in a unit of study. Giving students some choice as to how their learning and understanding will be demonstrated is a cornerstone of differentiated instruction. But care must be given to ensure that students have the adequate skills required to successfully use a specific format. For example, expecting students to produce a movie at the end of a unit would require a knowledge of iMovie or Movie Maker before allowing students to independently use these tools. A well-chosen summative task or end product will allow students to illustrate their proficiency in the 4 areas of the achievement chart: knowledge and understanding, thinking, communication, and application. Having both grades in a combined grades class complete a similar type of summative product, but differentiating the content specific to each grade, will help the class focus on the common thinking skills, inquiry process, and spatial skills that are key features of the 2013 Revised Social Studies History and Geography curriculum.